So we all know, about the, at least I'm sure the majority of the world has heard about the, submarine that imploded on its journey down to take some people down to see the, to explore the Titanic wreckage, which was a sad thing. It imploded, which means it actually imploded into itself instead of it explosion. It basically probably from the pressure of the ocean spot they hit. It was instantaneous. It just crumbled into nothing. Crumbled. It's like taking a soda can and just crushing it, right? Just with a rock or a brick or something. Or just it. But so I've never really. I knew nothing about these even the previous voyages before this. That this actually happened. That wasn't the first voyage. It was just happened to be a catastrophic one that happened. But so I'm really interested in that. Let's check this out together.
Catastrophic implosion. The unthinkable became all too real this past week as we learned of the fate of undersea explorer Stockton Rush's Titan submersible on its way to the Atlantic grave of the Titanic. The questions, the second-guessing, David.
First of all, that submarine doesn't even look, I don't know what it cost to build that. It looks really cheaply built. It looks like a tin can. Really, it looks like, you know what it looks like? Have you ever seen people, houses don't have natural gas, but they have the big white propane tanks in the backyard? That's what it looks like. It looks like an oversized propane tank. And my daughter was telling me yesterday that the controllers that they use to guide this thing is basically like a Nintendo 64 controller. You remember the ones, the Nintendo 64 controllers? I guess that's what they look like. Or the Sega, whatever, those controllers, hand controllers, that's what they look like. So I don't know, man.
Pogue tells us, are likely to continue for a long time to come.
Last summer, a company called Oceangate invited Sunday Morning to join an expedition to the Titanic. At the time, I was thrilled.
Next time I come out of this doorway, I'll either be a changed man forever or cursing the bad weather.
As the whole world knows now, Oceangate's business was taking adventure seekers on these Titanic dives.
Well, we're sitting on the Titanic. We are on the Titanic.
First of all, it looks cheesy, man. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to speak badly about this guy's, dream and building this submarine. It looks cheesy. Guys are sitting on the floor. You would think, but this guy is this rich to build it. You would have like captain seats, everybody sitting in, strapped in. You know what I'm saying? It looks like a round tin can with propellers on it, and people are just laying out on the blankets. It doesn't look that safe to begin with. I don't care how much money you spent to build it, and I do not care what the engineering specs were that were required for you to pass for this to go on this voyage or those previous voyages up to this one.
For $250,000 a ticket. On a one-of-a-kind carbon fiber submersible called the Titan.
Carbon fiber is a great material. It's better than titanium. It's better than a lot of other materials.
This is Stockton Rush, the CEO of Oceangate and the designer of the sub. Last Sunday, as he was piloting the sub to the Titanic, it imploded, killing him and his 4 passengers.
We spent 9 days at sea with Rush last summer, and in wake of the tragic news, we thought you might like to see more of what we saw and hear more of what Stockton Rush said.
The Titan wasn't like any previous deep-sea submersible. There was no dashboard, just a touchscreen computer and a single power button.
We only have one button, that's it.
Wait a minute, I've seen submersibles, and they are banks of control.
First of all, that thing would give, you know what? That thing would make me so fucking claustrophobic. It has no windows in it, bro. Not that you can see, maybe it does. I guess it has to have windows in it, but so you could see the Titanic once you get to it and float around it and look at it. But look at this thing, man. Compared to that, it looks cheesy, man. It just does. It was just probably a matter of time before something catastrophic happened to this vessel, bro.
Oh, it's like cockpit after cockpit.
Exactly. And this is to other submersibles what the iPhone was to the BlackBerry.
But many of its components seemed surprisingly cheap. For views outside the sub, he had installed store-bought security cameras.
Oh,
As for the ceiling lights,
I got these from Camper World.
and then there was the steering unit.
We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on! So, it seems like a lot of the...
I don't mean to laugh, but if I'm going to pay $250,000, I mean, let's think about it. If I'm going to pay $250,000 to go down in a vessel to see the historical ship known as the Titanic that sunk, it's going to be on something way, way, way more advanced technologically than this tuna can, bro. I'm not. Rest in peace to people that lost their life, but I'm not trying to make fun of it. But I'm just saying. I mean, would you get on it if you could afford it? Would you go down in that with a video game controller and a video camera they bought from Best Buy? Would you?
way you made this is by taking off-the-shelf parts and sort of MacGyvering them together.
Yeah, pretty much.
Does that not raise anybody's eyebrows in the industry?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I'm definitely an outlier. There were a lot of rules out there that didn't make engineering sense to me.
Everyone I know keeps asking me the same question. Why would you get on that dangerous sub? Well, first of all, Stockton Rush had the credentials.
He majored in aerospace engineering at Princeton. He designed and flew his own airplanes. He designed previous submersibles.
So?
Second, he was emphatic that the important parts of the Titan were rock solid, like the carbon fiber body for which NASA served as a consultant.
There's certain things that you want to be buttoned down, and that's the pressure vessel. Once the pressure vessel is, you're certain it's not going to collapse on everybody, everything else can fail. Your thrusters can go, your lights can go, you're still going to be safe.
Third, I was convinced by an expert, P.H. Nargelet, the veteran deep-sea explorer who also perished in the Titan. Over the years, he'd been to the Titanic more than just about anyone.
How many times have you been?
With the last dive, 37 times.
You've been to the Titanic 37 times?
Yes. I was in charge of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subs.
How different is the Titan from those other subs?
Completely different. Most of them, you have a sphere.
Was there never a point when you wondered about the safety of the sub at that depth?
No. 2 or 3 years ago, I have a phone call with Stockton, and he explained to me that he was doing a lot of tests. He showed me the ways they were building the stuff. I say, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I have no problem to dive in the sub.
I was also impressed by the sub's 7 redundant systems for returning to the surface.
These are roll weights. We can actually roll this up and those come off. That gains us some buoyancy to come back to the surface. Okay. These triple weights, we call them, are hydraulically driven.
Expedition Manager Kyle Bingham.
Underneath this tray hang these bags. We're around 35 pounds. And those hang down there. Typical dive will have 8 of them. We can also use our thrusters. We have enough power to thrust back up. And then under this last fairing here, we have our variable ballast tank or soft
Okay, hold up. So I'm not no engineer. Let me see if I can
ballast.
get
It's an air bladder.
I'm not no engineer, but look, I mean, by no way. I don't know anything about structural, mechanical engineering, so please don't take this the wrong way. But just based on, I was in the Air Force, man, and I seen F4s, F-15s, F-16s up close, and just its symmetrical design and the expertise it took in building those aircraft with, you know, with the metals and stuff, and how they were just so tight and riveting. Look at this, bro. Look at this. These things, it don't look like these things. Look at that. You would think all of these seams would be really, really tight. It would just, these lines, and look, there's gaps in there. I don't know, bro. It's just me, bro. I mean, comment down below if anybody knows structural engineering, mechanical engineering, watch this video. Let me know, man. But I'm just from the eye test. It don't look like it was built that well.
that we use a big 10,000 psi air tank that's under the tail to fill that up, fill it with air, and then it helps bring us to the surface.
There were even sandbags that detach automatically after about 16 hours, even if everyone inside had passed out. Their connectors would dissolve in seawater.
So you have a backup of a backup of a backup of a backup of a backup.
Correct.
All stations are
No, bro.
5 to go. Please stand by.
Finally, the crew seemed to foster a culture of safety. There were checklists, inspections before and after every dive, and a 3 strikes rule. If 3 things seemed out of the ordinary, no matter how minor, they'd cancel the dive. I learned that the hard way on our own dive.
We're in the water, we're floating. Woo!
At this point, divers are supposed to detach the sub from its launch platform.
So apparently those floats there came off the platform and that wasn't supposed to happen.
So we're scrubbing?
Yeah, I think that's the consensus up here.
Copy that.
I never did see the Titanic, and I wasn't unusual. In Oceangate's first 2 summers of Titanic operations, it spent a total of 50 days floating above the shipwreck site. But because of waves, bad weather, and malfunctions, the Titan actually made it to the Titanic only 12 times. But through it all, Stockton Rush defended his unconventional approach.
Well, of course he
Anything
would.
when you're trying something outside the box, people inside.
Of course he would defend it. If he spent that much time and effort in building it, he would defend it. I mean, I guess I would too if I was in this sort of thing, you know, and this type of technologies, you know, submersive technology. I would defend it too, man. I mean, but so he had a NASA engineer that oversaw it. He's had all these experts, but I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I mean, you know, I don't know what I think about this, man. It was like $250,000 a piece, you know, to go down in a vessel that may or may not just work 100% perfect all the time.
Inside the box, think you're nuts. Same thing when Elon Musk was doing SpaceX. Inside the box, everything's scary.
But as early as 2018, there was concern about the Titan's design. A former employee says that when he raised safety concerns, Rush fired him. That same year, a group of submersible engineers urged Rush to seek certification of the Titan by a safety agency.
Oh.
Rush declined, saying
Ooh.
that regulation would stifle innovation.
At some point, safety just is pure waste. I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed, don't get in your car, don't do anything.
Yeah.
It's
No. I'm having to disagree with you there, no, homeboy. I mean, rest in peace. But that's why we have OSHA, and that's why we have all these federal guidelines, manufacturing, technical, you know, building things, technical specifications, and checks and balances, because it's just like, you know, a F-22 Raptor, man, or F-35 or F-16. These when Boeing or whoever builds these aircraft, they have flown numerous test hours, and all the kinks and flaws are worked out. So you don't have a pilot up there in war, you know, and all of a sudden the plane just explodes or breaks apart, and you got a dead pilot. No, man, I can't agree with that, bro. This was a disaster waiting to happen.
At some point you're going to take some risk, and it really is a risk-reward question. I said, I think I can do this just as safely by breaking the rules.
So, Captain McLaren,
How did that work out for you?
have you spent much time in submarines?
David, my total time under the water, divorced from the outside atmosphere, is a little over 5 3/4 years. No kidding. Fact.
Retired U.S. Navy submarine captain Alfred McLaren is not impressed by Oceangate's innovations.
I mean, would you fly in an airplane that somebody excitedly tell you, well, it's going to be a lot cheaper because we found a new way of attaching the wings? Yeah, right.
Same thing I just got through saying, Admiral. Thank you, Captain. I just got through saying the same thing in my analogy just a couple of seconds ago, a couple of minutes ago. You know? See? I'm not as dumb as I think I am.
He theorizes that the Titan failed not because it was made of carbon fiber, but because it was made of 3 dissimilar materials: carbon fiber, titanium, and plexiglass for the porthole.
When you have different materials, different molecular structure, they have different coefficients of expansion and compression.
True.
And then you make repeated cycles in depth. Of course you're going to work that seal loose. And that's why submarines don't run around with any portholes at all, come to think of it. It's a weak point.
Oh.
I think there's a great, almost surreal irony here, which is Titanic sank because the captain took it full steam into an ice field at night on a moonless night with very poor visibility, after he had been repeatedly warned by telegram, by Marconigram.
In an interview with Anderson Cooper, filmmaker and veteran Titanic diver James Cameron pointed out a sad parallel between Stockton Rush and the captain of the Titanic.
The arrogance and the hubris that sent that ship to its doom is exactly the same thing that sent those people in that sub to their fate.
Oh wow! You know what? My wife just made this point. We were talking about this a couple of nights ago on the patio, and she made that same exact point, man. She referenced the Titanic movie and how the captain didn't listen to, or didn't really listen to his crew or whoever was giving that, the teletype message that was called, telegraph message that was coming over. She made that same exact point that this dude made, man. Way to go, baby.
The world mourns the loss of Stockton Rush, P.H. Nargeolet, and their 3 passengers, British billionaire Hamish Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, and his son Suleiman.
Already there's talk of restrictions and regulations and lawsuits. Will the Oceangate disaster mean fewer people going adventuring? Well, every year people do die skydiving and scuba diving and climbing Mount Everest. Tragic every time, and yet people still keep coming. Some people just have that itch.
True.
For them, danger is the point. The risk of dying gives meaning to living. I think Stockton Rush was among them.
I wanted to be sort of the Captain Kirk. I didn't want to be the passenger in the back. And I realized that the ocean is the universe. That's where life is.
Wow. That's a trip, man. It's really a trip. What do y'all think, man? I mean, it was, if you think about it, do y'all think it was just an accident waiting to happen? Do you think by him cutting corners and, like the TV monitors, just the low budget stuff inside, even though the vessel was supposedly structurally sound and designed to specs for, submersive diving deep down where the ocean's pressure is just will crush you like a can if it's not built right. But even though they had made trips down there, successful trips previously, maybe that, I don't know, man, maybe the maintenance wasn't kept on this thing. Maybe there was some red flags that went up there, like he didn't really pay attention to from previous voyages that were successful. I don't know, man, but y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments below, man. But rest in peace to the, to the captain and his vision, man, and people that lost their life, and especially the young kid and his dad, and I don't know, man. But as for me, if I had the money, I'm not going up into space to the moon on no SpaceX, and I'm not going down the ocean. I don't need to climb Mount Everest. I got enough on my plate just worrying about driving in traffic out here with these crazy ass people on the expressway every day, man. So it's all good, man. Hey, man. Thank y'all for hanging with me, man. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.